Do we want to do do you want to do the candidates first?
Then we'll do 11 candidates and just blast through.
We'll blast through them, and then because I don't know shit about these coaches.
No, we don't know much. It'll just be could get names. So we have 11 candidates to replace Mike McCarthy as as Cowboys head coach. How fucking hilarious is it that we're talking about this?
Hey,
November 13th.
Yeah,
November 13th, man.
November. But look,
yeah, you guys are wearing the same shirt.
You guys are matching.
You and Big Mike.
That's awesome. He looks good in that. All right, well, let's just get to the meat and potatoes. Former Patriots head coach Bill Belichick. We've heard about this one.
That's been out there. Don't want it. I don't think I want it. Unless he gets full control on personnel, which I don't think is going to happen.
And even then, it's like, if you're going to do that, I'd give it to someone younger. Let's get some
let's cook.
Young blood in here. Oh, hang on. Can we...
There you go. There we go. I was gonna ask you to do it, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to rock the ship.
No, sometimes it's fine. It just depends on how the website's lined up. Next is, of course,
this
Lions
AJ just creamed in his pants seeing that name, Ben Johnson.
I do like the name.
AJ loves BJ.
AJ loves BJ.
I don't think Ben Johnson is going to want to go play for Jerry Jones, and then there's also the mention of the cost, which for me, Dallas doesn't have a problem with paying $20 million, $50 million a season if it's going to bring in a Super Bowl.
You know where I'm going if I'm Ben Johnson?
Where?
Like Carolina. They just got a bunch of picks with guys they traded away. They still have a first overall pick.
Looking at what Dan Quinn did this year with Washington?
Yeah, just do something like that. You already have Bryce Young if you think he could do anything.
That's what they're talking about. Problem.
Is that what they said?
Well, no, you look at what he was able to do with a guy like Jared Goff. So if he looks at Bryce Young as a capable quarterback and he just needs assets around him, then maybe. But
how intriguing is that? The Panthers have a chance. The Panthers right now are in the running to have a first overall pick again. Yeah. If not first overall, top 5.
Yeah,
right. Top 5 pick. They also traded a couple wide receivers away, so they gained a bunch of more picks. So they're going to have an arsenal of picks if they wanted to trade up into a second or third round.
It just depends if he's looking. I mean, obviously the Cowboys come with a lot of baggage.
He's not Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is not going to be the Dallas Cowboys.
No, of course.
Coach.
But
not a chance.
So a what if scenario, which we know we don't like doing the what ifs, he would have to look. There is a good core of players at AT&T Stadium for him to come in and coach.
Yeah, but that's almost a deterrent. You didn't draft any of those guys. You didn't decide to make Dak Prescott the highest paid quarterback. You didn't decide to lock up with CeeDee Lamb. You didn't decide to draft Micah Parsons. So now you're already married to 3 very high-named players, high-profile players, and you don't want to go into another regime. Go into a team that has 3 players from the last regime, in my mind. Anyways, I'm not an NFL coach.
I think you have a point.
I was going to make a point before Ant started to get all tissy over there.
I didn't get tissy. I just don't think he's not going to come to Dallas.
Great. So in the scenario where and I agree with you, when you have extra baggage there, but with Dallas being in a position where they're probably going to get a higher draft pick, if you look at the guts of the team and say, okay, I can actually work with a guy like Dak Prescott. I like his portfolio of work. He's maybe not had the support that he's had from other head coaches who are maybe QB-centric coaches to develop him. Jerry Jones is going to give me $15 to $18 million a year to come in and coach. Not going to happen, but he's going to pay me $15 million to $18 million to come in and be a head coach. As well, I get to have a massive say in the players that we're going to be drafting. And because the Cowboys are going to be at a better position going into this draft, hopefully because of how bad
the Panthers might be ahead of them.
I'm just saying that how much of a work in progress is the Panthers versus the Cowboys. I think that's the assessment that you're looking at for the team.
I'll tell you why I wouldn't want to, outside of, if I was Ben Johnson, outside of just probably not going to be getting the control that I want with Jerry Jones. And I kind of do agree. All the other players will be fine. It's Dak Prescott. And it's not that I think Dak Prescott is a bum, but it's like you have a lot of capital locked up in there, so it doesn't offer a lot of moves. And
for the next 4 years.
And you also, that's basically your contract as a coach. And then also because of that, it's like, well, what can I really do? I've got an 8-9 year vet here of a quarterback. Am I going to teach this guy so much that he's going to improve 20%? Like a Bryce Young, the ceiling for where Bryce Young could go versus from where Dak could go under Ben Johnson is just, like the difference is just
That's
not
what
as
I
much.
mean. So say
Dak Prescott might end up as the better quarterback, but I feel like, and I wouldn't, and sorry, Anth, even if I was Ben Johnson, I don't even know that I think, because I'd have to really like what Bryce Young is, and then they only got 2 seasons left with him.
Yeah, but exactly. So you could go. This could be a whole nother.
Well, I like what we're doing.
This could be a whole nother show, and I know what Ad's saying. You have more assets.
Toss me one, son.
You have more assets going to Dallas, but I think there's way too much baggage. And Jerry Jones. If I was Ben Johnson, why do you think the Dallas Cowboys haven't had
a good, solid coach,
a younger coach, someone that's forward thinking? Because crack him if you got him. They got Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy was out of coaching, right? He wasn't a hot commodity, right? So I just have a hard time believing that a young up and coming coach would ever want to go to Dallas.
J-Tuck has the best metaphor for the situation where he goes in that you got these young coaches. They're the baddies, as he calls them, the hot girls that come into the club, and you're that guy who's trying to approach him. He's like, the Cowboys, everybody.
How drunk am I?
Very drunk. Everybody wants to approach and get the girl's number, and we're just not in a position that she'll ever give us those numbers.
Jerry's got to walk over there to that hot girl club and just pull out his black card, put it on the table, and say, whichever one of you have the lowest self-esteem, follow me to the bathroom.
Yeah,
but then that's not even the coach you want. Then
no, I know, but it's the coach that we'll get.
Okay, we got to move on. We have 9. We have 9 other coaches we have to talk about. We're gonna be here till 9 p.m. Pacific time. This was supposed to be quick. Like we're at coach 2.
Hey,
we'll go through the other ones quick. Ben Johnson is a hot commodity. Say what you got to say.
If you can say it in 5 seconds.
I was just gonna say, in anybody's mind outside of the Jerry Jones, the Cowboys have a better team to mold, and you have the key assets. Sorry, I was going to say
you ruined your argument though. You said outside of Jerry Jones. That's not happening.
I know.
He's the GM next year.
I know.
So that I hate to say it, we're going to move on because that ruins your argument.
But you
not going outside of Jerry Jones.
The Dan Quinn scenario about going into Washington. Dan Quinn already had offensive weapons that he could then place a high-picked quarterback into there.
Name them.
Scary Terry.
One player. That's one.
CeeDee Lamb.
Every team has Scary Terry.
Don't say weapons.
Who? Okay, sorry. Offensive weapon.
Weapon, exactly. So who do the Panthers have? They have Chuba Hubbard. He's a beast. They just re-signed him.
They also traded Deontay Johnson.
They traded away some of their guys.
I'm not saying he was, but
they have a stud running back who they just re-signed to a 4-year extension. So what's the best thing you can do to pair? Like at least you have one weapon.
All right, guys, you can catch up on to our offensive line coordinator Ben Johnson podcast this Friday, but we're going to be moving on.
Second Ben's D.
You know what?
Bijo?
I have a feeling.
We're referring to him as Bijo from now on.
Bijo. I have a feeling this is not the last we've heard of Bijo.
Oh, no.
No, I feel like we're going to be talking about him.
We're talking about Bijo for a while.
This is a good pick, too, Brian Flores.
Brian Flores. Now, the only thing I don't like back-to-back Vikings...
I see.
Vikings coming onto the staff. But look,
fair.
Flores is a name that we know. Do you want, here's a quick question, not really related to Brian Flores at all, but perhaps, do you want a defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator? I guess the kind of book is going to be open.
I think I want to go offense.
Or do you just want a head coach? Like, okay, wind it back. Do you want your head coach to be like a Mike McCarthy who is also running the offense? Or
no,
defense?
I want him to be able to impart on it, but I don't want my head coach to be.
They're obviously going to have a strong side of the ball.
What if it was Bijo?
If it was Bijo, then I trust in Bijo.
Would you want like Sean McVay running the offense, right?
Is Sean McVay the OC?
He might not be the OC, but he heavily.
But that's what I mean.
He calls plays.
I don't think these younger guys are in a like Mike McCarthy has tenure that he's going to be like, oh, I'm going to be the OC as well. Whereas like these younger coaches are probably like, I'm going to install someone who's going to follow my program, and then they're going to just kind of not micromanage them, but check over their shoulder.
I think ultimately, like Brian Flores, sure. I mean, he's a guy who's been in the NFL for a long time. He there you go, comes from the Belichick tree. So I think you're always kind of looking for that. You're looking for years. if you're looking for a guy who's been in the NFL, like a veteran coach like Flores. And then it's like, okay, does Flores have what the Dallas Cowboys could utilize, or could he work with the pillars that we have on our defense?
Well, and that's what Ad made a good point. Like, Ad made a good point, like, as far as...
Just say it one more time.
Ad made a good point.
Thank you.
Cornerstones are guys sticking around on the team. I would say right now, even though the defense is playing better, your star power is on offense. So that could heavily influence what you end up doing with the next coach.
I think I would rather this then in that case is taking a defensive minded coach and then getting someone who can call plays and then putting the other rest of your bulk of your money into finding that offensive coordinator who can kind of own that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really want it to
so let's go back in time and get Dan Quinn as our head.
Yeah. Okay. University of Georgia head coach Kirby Smart.
Don't want it.
But look at the first side. Okay.
Let's
get nuts.
I just don't want this. Georgia might not even make the college playoffs. So if you can't even get your top ranked team to make it into the, like, we're going to hire Georgia's coach who might miss the 12-team playoffs. This is the first time the college football has went from a 4-team structure to a 12-team, and they might even miss the 12-team bracket. So I'm out on this. If they lose to Tennessee this weekend, Georgia's done.
I would also say too, like that he's using the writers saying his first hire as owner of the Cowboys, Jimmy Johnson, had no NFL head coaching experience.
Yeah, but they won national championships.
Yeah, but also different time. Like Jimmy Johnson, I think in terms of what he did of drafting it, like the way you draft today in the NFL wasn't what it was like back then. Looking at evaluating players on a point scale, that wasn't done by a lot of teams. So building that team of weapons and making those trades from pillared players to get more draft capital was a big thing that Jimmy Johnson was able to do that allowed them to get to those Super Bowls, right? I just think that the Cowboys, this is not a likely situation for them to come in 2025 and hire a coach that's coming from college.
I'm just going to say this right now. I don't want a college coach.
And I just want you guys to know that I was definitely not looking at buying these pants for myself.
But if we had to pick out of us three who was wearing that outfit.
Oh, I'm walking into the stadium.
Adam.
I don't know if I'd wear I couldn't do bell bottoms. I could do the puffer coat.
Here's the thing about college is when was in chat, maybe help us out with this. I don't want to spend time on this. Just a quick question. Who was the last successful direct from college to NFL head coach? I don't remember when. I like when.
No, you don't hear it because every time they played, that's all you would hear about. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that a hot
Saban was the last kind of big name.
And he fizzled out. You don't see someone that's super successful in college that comes into the NFL. So right now, like you said, but my thing would have been Harbaugh. But he fizzled out. Yeah, he made a.
But he has NFL experience.
And Imposter Bro made a bunch of comments here as we were going through. Ben Johnson or Belichick or Deion. So Deion Sanders would probably be the only college coach that I could see Jerry Jones actually signing.
Just because it'd make headlines.
And he also says only college coach I want is Deion.
Okay.
I think that...
Let's see if he's on this list.
Let's see if he's on the list.
Oh, interesting. He might be.
I bet you he will be on the list.
Former Titans head coach Mike Vrabel.
See, I don't hate this.
I don't hate this one either.
I don't hate this one. Guy's hard-nosed, defensive-minded. That kind of plays into what we were saying. If
players have nothing to do but respect him. Like
interesting enough that he didn't get a coaching job this year.
Maybe the right opportunity to come up.
So this isn't. I would personally rather this pick than
on the list
a Belichick. This right now is what we've seen. This is where I'd want to go.
And honestly, I think it's the most probable from the list we've seen
so far. This isn't bad. He had a couple good years in Tennessee and then kind of fizzled out, but not bad.
Is that Nick Beer Nick?
It kind of looks like him.
Okay. Could be. It's not though. Next on our list is Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady. Don't get it confused. That's Joe Brady.
Joe Brady.
Don't know much about him, guys. He's young, only 35 years old.
I hate it when they show to him and like that young bastard.
The thing I like about this pick, without knowing anything about the guy, is just that Okay, so here's something right there. Brady has already worked with two of the best quarterbacks in football by serving Burrow's offensive coordinator at LSU and currently as Josh Allen's OC. So I like what the Bills do with Josh Allen because I think Allen plays like a really, and so does Joe Burrow. They both play really kind of toss it into the fucking void kind of football. That works out for those guys. They have great arms. Something that I think Dak could also reproduce. I don't think that Dak has the same running ability anymore or just is like more shy than Josh Allen. But I mean, as an offensive coordinator, I'm sure you're not like implementing, okay, and I need my quarterback.
Yeah,
exactly.
Dak got hurt throwing this year. So next year we're going just heavy
hamstring, heavy
run.
Tush pushing.
Hey, yo.
Nate Dogg's in
No, it's not Nate Dogg. It's Kilo C saying hey,
Kilo C's in the his A.
But,
this is a good one.
But
sorry.
I was going to say the other question though is like they're all like, so Joe Brady as a head coach, like why not pay a lot for an offensive coordinator? Go out and find the best offensive coordinator.
Because you can't do this. You can't take him. Like, so you can't outpay the Bills right now to bring Joe Brady in as your offensive coordinator. If the Cowboys take him from the Bills, it has to be to a head coach.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because of the...
It has to be...
and you're saying that's a legal thing in the NFL?
Yeah, you can't, they can't... Otherwise, people would just steal offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators all the time.
Yeah.
If you're going to steal them,
you got to
steal them to head coach.
Okay, cool. Hey, so that's good. That's good to know.
Commanders offense coordinator Kliff Kingsbury, we've heard about this. I just can't see him after having his first year with Jaden Daniels and how the Commanders have been. If I'm Kliff Kingsbury, I'm sticking around for maybe another year.
At least a year.
Yeah, one more. So I as far as like...
Well, let's see how the season ends, but you're right. If the season continues to go for Washington as it does, if they win the fucking division...
Which you have a good chance.
They have a very good chance.
Hey, tomorrow night, Washington Commanders versus Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday Night Football.
That's tomorrow night?
It's tomorrow night.
Huge game. That's a huge implication game.
Hopefully they both just can't field teams after tomorrow, and the Cowboys win.
Oh, my goodness. Bane has shown up. Yeah. But no, it's the same thing that we're going to say for all of them, so we don't need to really reiterate it. But I don't hate the idea of Kliff Kingsbury, but again, pretty far down on my list of probability with that, because if the Commanders just continue to have the same season they do, what is the incentive for him to move on?
Unless he has like this desire to be a head coach.
Yeah.
Unless he has
which you don't know.
Right. Well, and I just feel like
he has been a head coach.
I would say for him, it's at least one more year. Just let me see what I got with 2 years with.
What would you rather do? Win a couple Super Bowls as an offensive coordinator or be on a team as a head coach? My mind, I'd rather win a couple.
I'd want to at least take the team that's been put in that I've helped develop and kind of run it out at least for the first contract's worth of
kind of how time. Dan Quinn was with the Cowboys.
Yeah. Dan Quinn was in a solid position.
He could have went as a head coach every year after every year that they hit 12-5. He could have went out and got a head coaching job. And I think last year he was kind of like, I don't think we're going to do it again. So.
One thing that's missing from this too is like, and not to say that we're going to do it on this, but that we can look forward to for future episodes is we can look to see what teams are going to be looking for a head coach. And that kind of gives us a little bit more perspective on
context. Hey, we got a lot of weeks to go.
Time. I can't believe we're looking through the 11.
This feels like an off-season conversation.
But hey, I went a little bit further. I went to the...
Well, let's just read this one. Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick.
We'll have an opinion after this Monday. If the Cowboys beat you guys, then no, we don't want Bobby.
Yeah, we're gonna find out. This is perfect. Texas offensive coordinator.
Don't know much about him. Everyone, we already talked about the Deion Sanders.
Yep.
One. Yeah, that'd be it'd make headlines, especially if the Cowboys get a top 5 pick, because then you know what? You got two guys coming out of Buffalo in Travis Hunter and Deion's kid, Shedeur Sanders, who could be top.
And 5. Shiloh.
Well, Shiloh's not, but I mean top 5 picks.
Top 5 picks, yes.
So if you have a top 5 pick as the Dallas Cowboys and you hire Deion Sanders, well,
if you hire Deion Sanders, he probably, because of where Shiloh's going to go, he probably could draft both 2 out of his 3 guys, Travis Hunter, Shiloh, or Shedeur, like one of those 3. He could draft. I can't see this happening. Like, I can't see Deion leaving. They're actually making a run. I mean, the start of the season was a little rocky for Buffalo, but now they're in a position where they could do some more damage for the rest of their season. So Who knows if he's going to bail on college football right after? He said multiple times he won't, but
Yeah, I'll take that when I see what happens.
He's probably thinking that like the teams that he would go and leave to coach with, he would only do it if he felt like he could make a massive impact and have a lot of control over how it's done.
My belief is a guy like Deion Sanders is best suited for a college football team. I think that's where you're going to get the most out of him at this point. I think that he's got a great personality, a great history, and that can really help to control a team and to have a team back your head coach
and bring in like guys that high school kids that are like, oh man, I want to go play in Boulder.
Yeah, it would be very interesting to see Deion Sanders as a coach in the NFL, but I think it's way too early.
He said lots of times too that he doesn't want to coach men. He has said that,
and I think
he's on record that a bunch. So I think this is just again, the Cowboys are 3-6. I think there's just obviously he's going to be linked. He played for the Cowboys, has a good relationship with Jerry Jones, but I don't see this happening.
And former Jets head coach Robert Saleh.
Again, don't necessarily.
I don't hate this.
I don't want him as a head coach.
I don't. Yeah, got him. I agree. I don't want him necessarily as a head coach. I do like the idea of him getting on a coaching staff. But in terms of why you don't want him as a head coach, like reason being.
He let a team already get away from him. He let a high-profile quarterback basically
walk all over
him. What does the Cowboys have? I don't know if Dak Prescott's going to do similar things or antics, but you've already seen it once. So what's stopping it from happening again?
Yeah, I think I agree. And for Robert Saleh or Saleh, how do you say his name? Saleh. For him too, take a step back, go back to OC or what is he?
DC. Go back to
DC duties.
Go back to San Fran, man, and go back to San Fran and rule again.
Yeah. I thought he was going to Green. I thought there was word that he was going to Green Bay.
Who knows?
But like as on the team.
Aaron.
Yeah, Lions defense coordinator Aaron.
Don't know much about him. But he's you're always gonna get the top teams. The Lions are a top team this year. You're gonna have both of their coordinators in the running to be head coaches. And it's gonna depend if they want to be or not.
And then download our free map. Don't download that app.